The 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike three. Wrap this one up in green and white.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of the RailCats Talk podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Savetic, and we have another loss in the loss column of the push to the playoffs. Make that now 3 in a row by the Gary South Shore RailCats. And yesterday blowing a beautiful lead that they had going into the 8th. Blowing that one out of proportion. I didn't watch the full game. I got to watch a little bit of it. That game was just a bust. That when thinking about it, I'll get into today's game, but just thinking about the RailCats this year, what has been their biggest issue, right? Right. So their biggest issues have been the offense has been very inconsistent. We score boatload of runs, and then we score no runs. I think this is the 12th time this year the RailCats have been shut out. You're not going to obviously win a lot of games if you don't put any runs up, and that's 12 games that you could have potentially won if you would have put maybe a couple runs on the board. And then the other thing, they don't have anyone that's a lockdown pitcher. I really think the only person that they had outside of the starting rotation that's been locked down was Carlos Vega. Outside of that, I would love for someone to name me one person that they have put in a high leverage situation that has been consistently shutting someone down. I thought maybe it'd be Jack Eisenbarger. That didn't turn out that way. I think they were hoping Nick Garcia would be that person. Chris Irwin, I think more of a starter role on that one. Even Josh Vincent, who's no longer with the team. That's a whole other carbuncle I want to get into in a second, as well. There just hasn't been anyone, and on nights like this, where you lose 5-0. And then all of a sudden, the relief pitching does its job. But I don't know if that's just because Fargo had such a high lead that it didn't really matter what happened in that situation. They're not looking for clutch hits. They're just kind of looking to hit the ball or get on base. Which the moods definitely change when you go from being down, was it 5-3 going into the 8th, and then, 6-3 going in the 8th, and then you giving up 7. There's a difference there, right? I think there's a tad bit of difference. I think going into next year, because I think I'm going to put the stamp on the RailCats this year that they're not making the playoffs. I'm just going to be a realist here. I'm still going to cover them. I'm still going to go to games. I got the September 3rd or September 2nd and 3rd, the Friday night and Saturday afternoon games I'm going to. I think now we just kind of have to look at the positives for next year, what potentially they can do differently. I think the big thing is probably finding a lockdown closer or lockdown relievers, something that they can plug and play these people, and that they have all the confidence in the world to go out there and just shut a game down. Because realistically, I can probably count on both hands, maybe 10. I would say maybe about 10 games. Realistically, they've had like 5 or more run leads going into the later half of the innings, and then them blowing it. That's going to be a statistic that I'm going to get out maybe in the offseason. We'll kind of break down weird statistics going in the offseason and have some kind of podcast on that kind of stuff where maybe some faults are, this and that. And then, huge props last night to Alec Olid, who came in and walked and got on base twice. I think he had a double there, and I think it was in the 8th. He scored both times, against his former club, and I think right now Gary's hurting without him. I realistically do, because we saw in the Knights game that both Castillo and Madden had Madden's errors. So, that I didn't think we could get any lower than Castillo, and we did. They did. They realistically did, and Madden has done nothing to help them offensively besides 1 home run at 11 at bats. He's batting at 0.91. Like, okay, yeah, cool, you got a home run and 11 at bats. Awesome. Good for you, but you haven't done anything else. You know, I know that Scantlin hasn't been the best outfielder in the world, but I don't know what the scenario is here with this. I mean, I really like Mariaga in center field, but I like him in the center field as via the ability to play the center field position, but his arm is suited for right field. And I think this is where you might have missed an Oled because he can play that center field role for you. And I mean, he still has been consistent at batting at least. I mean, he's been consistent. I mean, he wasn't like the top of the cream of the crop top, but I don't have the stats pulled up at the moment. Let me back it up. I just where he left the RailCats at least. You know, he wasn't the cream of the top, but he wasn't at the bottom either. So it was kind of weird for that to happen. I think you're starting to miss some of that. I think he would have been a consistent person for you. I mean, he's better than Scantlin is, and he's better than Madden is. It's just plain and simple. I don't think you take Castillo's bat out of the lineup. But looking here, Olin was batting at 230, and it wasn't, you know, okay, Mariaga's batting at 305, Nova's batting at 290, but now he's more to the 30. Castillo's batting at 289, which, I mean, you would want him there. Anyway, Scatlin's batting at 258. Olin was batting at 230. I'll see what he's at now. I know the games have kind of obviously fluctuated with him being with Fargo Moorhead on that aspect of it. I know Fargo. Listen, I know I'm taking the cream of the crop, and looking at the, you know, and then taking a team that's down in the dirt still. But I mean, you have a chance to really turn the season up on its head. It's not gonna show. It's only gonna show me his time with the RailCats, which is kind of odd in that aspect of it. Yeah, maybe. Actually, my bad. I can do it this way. I have the Nifty AA Baseball on my Point Streak app on my phone. I can look up his stats easier this way. Olid right now is batting at 269. He's played in 13 games, 26 at bat, 7 hits, 7 runs, 7 hits, 4 RBIs, no home runs. Okay, maybe you lose the home run value of a potential Madden, but I'm just saying outside of that, I mean, you're losing a guy that, you know, right, isn't a full-time player with Fargo Moorhead, but he's still being productive. I mean, he's batting at 269. I mean, I know that's only at 13 games and 26 at bats, but still, it's really, I mean, you're on a really good team anyways, and you do have good competition. I'm not saying I don't know all the, you know, what he has in total. It won't break everything down for you, but I mean, you know, he's a hometown guy. He was a guy that you'd easily root for, obviously being a RailCats fan, and with him being from Crown Point, him going to Purdue. I mean, that's just stuff you could easily root for him on that aspect of it. And, you know, the RailCats got nothing for him. You know, there has been trades that have been, I think at that point, you know, even with Josh Vincent. Now, I don't know what's up with Josh Vincent on that aspect of it, because he was picked up on waivers, so I don't know if the RailCats were releasing him via family issues or whatever the case may be. I'm not saying he was, you know, at the beginning of the year he was, you know, baby Jesus. He was shut down. He was good, but he kind of sputtered out a little bit at the end. And then Fargo picked him up, and maybe he's like, hey, I can't do it because of so-and-so. So that's why Fargo released him. So I don't know really what's going on there. It was kind of ironic that the Fargo Moorheads picked up 2 of the RailCats players that the RailCats ultimately ended up releasing and not on the roster anymore. So yeah, but let's go ahead and get into today's game. The RailCats obviously didn't do a single thing in today's game offensively. I thought Edward Cuello had a very good game. It was kind of a shame that there was a couple errors that bit him, that were kind of out of his control. Looking at his stat lines real quick, he pitched 6 innings, gave up 8 hits, 4 runs, and two which were earned. And then Aaron Phillips gave up another run which wasn't earned because that was also a Madden error as well. So I think Cuello had a very good. He had 6 strikeouts. Yeah, he gave up 8 hits, but that's typical. I mean, Gower gave up 6 hits, 8 strikeouts, 1 walk. So I mean, he did a very good job as well on his end, giving up 6. So Cuello only gave up 2 more hits. It's just that they were able to capitalize and the RailCats weren't. I thought maybe the RailCats were going to capitalize actually because of Walraven's single. Woodworth struck out and Castillo hit a single, and then Mariaga hit in a double play. And then even in the second inning, Nova started out with a single. Lingua hit a single, which rode Nova to third. And then Lingua stole a base. Abbott struck out. Madden struck out, and Greeley struck out. Like, that doesn't help you when you strike out. You got to at least be productive. You got to put the ball in the air somewhere. Get one run on the board. You get your confidence up. Go from there. I'm just kind of looking at points where the RailCats really could have struck, and really outside of that, they didn't really do much. Other than Woodward's single and he stole a base, was the only time someone else reached second base for the RailCats. I think it was almost 5, 8, quick maths, 11, 12. Yeah, there was 12 batters up, 12 batters down before in the 8th inning when Woodworth got hit in the foot. That the RailCats were able to get on. So basically, from the end of the 4th, the second out from the end of the 4th to the first out in the 8th is when the RailCats got a runner on base. So you can't really do. There's nothing that you can do on that aspect of it. Grauer just had a very good game on that aspect of it. But just kind of looking over the Fargo Moorhead scoring line here, it was Maris. He started out with a double. Boscan, he's a RailCat killer. Right? He went 3 for 4, and he popped out in the 8th inning. He hit a single, which brought in Morris. It was a single E9, so I don't think that run actually counted. However you want to put it, I put an RBI because it sort of is a certain extent. I guess it's really not an RBI, but I just put it there for mental note that it was Pascan that hit the ball. He is credited with 1 RBI, so I'm going to guess that they gave it to him on that one. But I don't think the run was earned. It's kind of a weird scenario how it's a run batted in, but then an error. Anyways, Castillo just misplayed the ball, and Morris came around and scored. Then it was Ward. I don't see what I was busy doing something else. Pena popped out. And then it was Silviano. He hit I think he hit a double, but I put it down as a triple. It was a double. And then Boscan scored on that one. Boscan. I listened to the whole game and I still can't pronounce the name. I knew that was going to be one of the names I need to really pronounce. Nothing going on until the 6th inning. Like I said, Cuello had a very good night. I think he had a very good game. Gave a handful of hits, but that happens. Nothing really crazy going on. I mean, the only time that the Red Hawks even kind of put a little bit of pressure on was Morris and Boscan getting back-to-back hits, but they sputtered out there because it was a 2-out rally kind of deal, but then Ward popped out. But then they're here in the 6th inning. Pena started out with a 6-3 ground out. Silviano hit a single, and then it was Livorsi. He popped out the 3rd, and then Dexter hit. Yeah, this was one of so. I think Madden has a very, very interesting. I don't know if he can really read the ball. I think that's an issue. I don't think he can read the ball. And there was, I think yesterday's game, he ran up a handful of steps and the ball went flying over his head. And this one was one of those where he kind of stepped up and he went back to kind of go look for it. He couldn't find it, and it hit him in the glove and it fell out of his glove, which ultimately brought Silviano in. And Alexander hit a double, which brought in Dexter. And then Novik got out. I think it was a strikeout. Then going into the 7th, Morris got a strikeout. And then Boscan walked. Ward flew out, and Boscan stole a base. He stole 2 bases in this game, actually. And then Pena hit a line shot to Madden. I thought he was going to catch it. I really thought he was a little bit low liner, but, I mean, he in his mitt. Like, I'm talking in his mitt, and the thing just slipped right out. So that's why I said someone's got to put pine tar on that mitt because I don't understand that. that was easy 1-2-3, get out of the inning and no damage done. But ultimately that brought in Boscan because that would have been third out, but then Silvianos grounded out, and then that was basically the end of the game. So I don't know. 11 games remaining. They are 13 and a half games back, which I think not 13. They're three games back. No, 4 games back now. Yeah, actually 4 games back now. Because I do think at the moment Cleburne is on top of Chicago 4-3 at this moment. So they could get a lot worse. It could get to 4.5 games. If I'm looking at the wrong one. I'm looking at Lake Country. My bad. They are 3.5 games. It could go to 4. If the Cleburne Railroaders win tonight over the Dogs. The Dogs haven't done any help, but I really think when it came down to who was going to make the postseason, and it came down to the Cleburne series, and the RailCats just didn't do their job. They had it, and then they failed. It's just one of those things that it happens. You kind of pick up from next year, and you move along with it. But looking at the stat line tonight, that was the day before. Cuello, 6 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs, 2 earned, no walks, 6 strikeouts. Phillips went 1 inning, 1 run, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. The run wasn't earned. Santos came in, pitched 1 inning, gave up 1 hit, 3 walks, got out of the inning. That was an interesting one too, because he walked a bunch of people and then he got out of the inning. He gave up the 1 walk there in the 8th. And they got a double play, and then you walked 2 more after that. So it was kind of interesting. Or we walked all 3 of those. Whatever the case, I have it checked up somewhere. It might have been a hit. I missed it or whatever. In that case, I think that was a hit and then walk. Or no, my bad. Novak hit a single, and just they kind of moved 1 spot on that aspect of it. And then looking at the batting line, Walraven went 1 for 4 with 1 strikeout. Woodworth went 1 for 3 with 1 strikeout. And then he got hit by a pitch. Castillo went 1 for 4. Mariaga went 0 for 3, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Nova went 1 for 4, 1 strikeout. Lingua went 1 for 4. Abbott went 1 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Madden went 0 for 3 with 1 strikeout. And Greeley went 0 for 3 with 1 strikeout as well. So yeah, 11 games remaining. That are heading. They got a game tomorrow is early game. I'm off tomorrow, so I'll get to watch that, and I'll cover it as well. I'll have a podcast after it. It's just been a tough stretch for the RailCats, and I just think they had so much momentum going forward to the All-Star break. And then after the All-Star break, it kind of just all started to kind of falter a little bit. We'll definitely get into, ideas of what, potentially the RailCats should be going out for, who on the team should stay. Just saying that everyone is, we may have some players that leave just because, players don't get paid a lot. You get paid, but you don't get paid a lot. You can't make a, living wage on this, and, you can't always count in year in and year out for a 25, 26-year-old player to continue playing baseball when they got to, look elsewhere, look for jobs or whatever the case may be, if it's just not working out for them. So, that's the kind of part that sucks about the American Association, is that you got such an abundance of rotating players, and it's not like the minor league systems where you can just pluck players, in and out where you want them, try to keep improving your team. Sometimes you just can't get that. And sometimes you got to wait for, a minor league team to get rid of a player so you can pick them up, or trades or something along the lines of that. I just think maybe at this point, the RailCats, maybe look to move some players for some potential assets for next year, or however they want to work that stuff out. Off-season moves, whatever the case may be. But we'll get ideas of what we think, what I think of the RailCats, what they should do. I would love to hear your opinions as well on that. So 5-0 loss for the RailCats. Potentially 4 games out of first, or potentially 4 games out of 4th place, with 11 games remaining. But it still doesn't mean you can't have fun at the Steel Yard. We gotta get through tomorrow's game, get through the Dogs, and you're back at home. against King County and the Milkmen. They'll finish it out. So, get a chance, go out there, be a good time. It always is at the Steel Yard. It's always a fun time there, no matter what, the score is, however it's going to roll out in that aspect of it. And if you see me there, say hi, we can talk, all that good stuff. So, yeah, I will be there Friday and Saturday, this September 2nd and 3rd. Hopefully things are a little bit different by then. Maybe we're close to a playoff push, but it's going to be very hard for the RailCats to climb that hill, especially facing the Dogs and King County and the Milkmen on that aspect of it. But that's going to wrap it up for me. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, rest of your evening, whenever you're watching this, and go Cats.